If you've watched or listened to my material for a long time, you know how important I think that it is to actually write down some of your live hands so that you can become a better player. So how do you do that? Do you use like the Note app in iPhone? That can be a little bit tricky. Do you use other Note apps? I actually have two guys in the CLP community that have developed a specific mobile app just for this purpose. It's called Fastroll, and it allows you to easily record your live hands into this app and build out a database of the hands that you have played. It's also very, very easy to share your hands. You press the share button and you can send it off to whoever you want, and it will export it in a very, very easy, readable hand history format. I've had a lot of projects come my way, and I haven't really been impressed by any of them until now. If you use the code CRUSHLIVE, you can actually get the first month for free off their annual subscription. Just check out the link down below. Hello, Michael. You are up first, sir.
How's it going, Bart?
How's it going, Michael? Are you a first-time caller, Michael?
I am.
All right. So where are you playing out of?
This is in Potawatomi Casino in Milwaukee.
I don't know. We have had a couple calls from Milwaukee. Is this the only place that's in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Milwaukee, as they say on Wayne's World. And what is the size of the game that you're playing in?
It's 1-3, but it plays a little bigger, so it's almost kind of plays like a 2-5.
Okay. So what's the is it like a match the stack or?
I mean, the match or the cap is 500, but I just mean like the players go a little crazy.
Okay. And how deep are you for this hand?
I have 4,500, but we're 2,400 effective with the
Jeez.
main villain.
And so you've run your stack up to 4,500 from 500?
Yeah, off a $100 bullet.
What? Oh my God. And you're 2,400 effective this hand. Wow, that's off a $100 bullet?
Yeah.
Wow, that's like a run of the century right there. Is that the most money you've ever had in front of you?
At a 1-3 table, yeah.
Jeez. Would you got like $3? So your image must be pretty good here for this hand then, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow, that is pretty impressive. All right. So I had taken my stack up to 17,000 from a $1,500 buy-in. So what is that? Like 10, 11, like 11, 12 times. So yeah, I mean, I suppose it's doable. Back when I was playing at Commerce 510, that was probably my record, 17,000. All right. So 1-3, 2,400 effective, no straddles or anything, or?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Start us off here.
All right, so it's folded around to the button,
Okay.
who opens to $15.
Okay. Is that about the standard open size?
Yeah, I would say so, especially considering that no one else limped, which was very unusual. So he opens to 15,
Yep.
and then I'm in the small blind with ace of spades, king of spades, and I 3-bet to $55.
Okay, so 3-bet to 55. Okay, so just under 4x.
The big blind folds, and then the button thinks for a little bit, and then 4-bets to $200.
Wow, so the button 4-bets to $200. So this is kind of a unique scenario in live because you're so deep and you're playing 1-3 blinds. We always talk about, do you have a 5-bet range in live poker? A lot of times you don't, just because you're just so shallow in a spot like this. Now here, you actually do, and I've mentioned this before too on the show. When you take a look at like base fundamental pre-flop stuff. Now this is a wide configuration. You're button versus small blind anyways, but even in the tightest configurations, you're always supposed to put the extra bet in with ace, and you kind of balance that with ace king suited. Here you've 3-bet button versus small blind with ace king suited. The guy 4-bet you, and then the question is, well, do I want to 5-bet this? And then I guess I don't know if you're comfortable like 5-bet calling off here for mountains of money, like 800 big blinds effective, or do you just want to call and play post flop? What's the deal with this opponent on the button here?
He's definitely a winning player, probably the best player at that table, which is why I was sitting in position on him.
Except that you're out of position this hand just because you're in the small blind, right? Yeah.
So those exact thoughts were going through my mind. I was like, do I want to 5-bet this guy? I mean, we're like so deep, and I know he's a good player. So I was like, I kind of just decided that I would flat because I didn't want to play a 5-bet pot.
Well,
that deep.
Well, let me ask you this question: what would you have 5-bet? Would you have 5-bet kings?
I think so. I think I would have. Yeah.
So you're gonna 5-bet aces and kings and just call with everything else, basically?
Yeah, I think that was kind of my plan.
And then I guess, again, ace king suited as the balance theoretically is to help the balance of bluffs, I guess you could say. Or like if you get the ace 5 suited, we talk about that. Is this unbalanced? Sure. If you're only 5-betting aces and kings, sure it is. Are you gonna necessarily be exploitive? I don't know, probably not. The only thing I would be thinking about if I was the button just is you probably don't have aces if you have a 5-bet range. So I would know that if I was the button, but so what? So you decide to call and your head's up and it's like $400, right? To the flop.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So the flop is ace of clubs, 8 of clubs, 6 of hearts.
Ace of clubs, 8 of clubs, 6 of hearts. Now, funny with that being said, that if I was your button and a good player and I don't think you have aces, unless you just don't have a 5-bet range, which I guess you would never really know because it's such a rare spot, you're going to have to defend down here a lot with ace king because if you don't have aces, this is going to be one of the best hands that you're going to have. Unless you're doing some 3-betting with like pocket eights and then calling to a 4-bet. I don't know if you would have done that. You'd have a middle set of eights.
Right.
So I assume you check.
Yep. I check,
Uh-huh.
and the button bets right around half pot for $200.
So button bets 200. Now, that's a little bit larger sizing than you would typically see in a 4-bet pot. But again, you guys are so deep. When people sort of refer to running certain situations or sims, I don't think that they necessarily count for being so crazy deep. I mean, when he goes to 200 and you call, I mean, you still have like, what, 5.5 SPRs, right? If he's got 2,200 behind going to the flop. So he bets 200, okay.
Yep. I just make the call.
So hero calls. Did you ever think about raising here? I'm not necessarily advocating it. I'm just saying, did you ever think about it?
Well, my thought process was he could have a hand like kings or queens, and obviously, if I raise, he's not going to put any more money in. He may not anyway, but to me, it just didn't really make sense because I guess unless he has ace queen, maybe ace queen suited, which I wasn't even sure he would 4-bet me with. He may, but I was just like, he either has ace king or he just probably missed or effectively missed the flop with kings or queens or something like that.
Well, I mean, he could have some other ace X that's going to obviously be forced to continue. He didn't take ridiculously small sizing. Like he didn't go like 20% pot, like to 80. I mean, he went half the size of the pot. You also get into some situations here too, where if you take the betting lead in a situation where there's a very good chance that your opponent might also have ace king, sometimes like you can plan it out where you can put a lot of pressure on the same hand, like a Mike Postle-esque type of thing. Mike Postle in the X streets this week and that Veronica Brill thing, where the guy's got ace king. It's funny, like if you knew the guy had ace king, you just pound here. But it's interesting that the ace is the club, so it's not like anyone can have nut flush draws or something like that. So you decide to play this as a call. I assume if it goes check on a brick, then obviously you're going to value bet river, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so the pot's $800.
Yep. And then the turn is the queen of spades.
Queen of spades. So that's another hand, well, a couple other hands that you lose to, right? If you ever had ace queen or pocket queens, although the flop sizing is a little bit large for pocket queens, that's not necessarily the best card. And I feel like you might be really kind of forced to play down a little bit defensively here, actually, now off of this card.
Yeah. I actually kind of like this turn card
Really?
because it sounds, I mean, I was really thinking that he had to have ace king here. The flop sizing felt a little too big to be queens. I guess he could still have. I still don't think he would have queens or kings. I don't think he would take that flop sizing. So to me, especially with the action pre-flop and how passive players generally are, I really didn't think he could have much of anything other than ace king.
We talked about how I didn't. So you just have this guy on ace king here a lot. We talked about that it might be 6 combos. There's 6 combos of ace queen, right? Because there's 2 aces left and 3 queens left. There's 6 combos of ace king. And you didn't think that this guy would take this type of sizing here with, say, queen, queen on the flop. Is that right? Is that about accurate here?
Yeah,
Okay. So what did you decide to do here? I assume here that you are going to check.
I do check.
All right. So hero checks.
And then the villain, that's 350.
So button bets 350. And again, I still think you probably are forced here just to call. I don't think, when you're this deep, putting in that kind of money or extra money here, I think is going to be a little bit of an overplay if you're thinking really about doing anything here.
So I agree with you, but I felt so confident that he had ace king that I kind of decided to turn this into a little bit of a bluff.
Really? Wow. So what did you do?
I want to maximize fold equity, so I actually jam all in.
Wow. For how much?
It would have been 1,650 more.
So you jam all in for 2,000 total.
Yeah,
I mean, thinking that the guy's going to fold ace king, basically.
right.
So also too, there is one combo of pocket aces left here too, Michael, right?
Yeah,
So you're up, there's a possibility the guy might have one combo of pocket aces, which is basically the nuts. Now there's three combos of pocket queens here. We don't think he's got queen. Let's say he's got half a combo out of the three because of the flop sizing here. That's 3.5. And then you've got 6 combos of ace queen. Say he's got maybe one of the 6 combos. So you're looking at 4.5. That's how you do the combo work, I think, when you weight it. When you're looking at 4.5 to 5 combos here of hands that he's never folding, that he's ahead of you. And then you've got 6 combos of ace king left here, which you are trying to basically get to fold out here, risking 2,000. I don't know. I mean, the math there, you have him so dead on ace king, it's kind of complex on the fly to figure out how often he has to fold to ace king here for this to be profitable when he has other hands that beat you here. The pot's going to be 1150 after he bets 350 into the 800. You're basically risking 2,000 to win 1150. You're almost laying 1 to 2 here, which means he's got to fold out here a lot of ace king. And there's a bunch of hands that he's not folding that are better than yours, even if we're just giving him like heavily weighted combos. So I don't really think that the math is with you here on the fly.
yeah, I agree. It was probably a bad jam. Something I was going to ask you about is, would you ever consider a smaller raise to try and I don't want to say see where you're at, but would you ever put in a smaller raise kind of, because if I actually did have ace queen here, I probably would raise this turn, but I would probably pick a smaller size because I would still want to make sure I get called by ace king.
Well, so you're saying that if you raise smaller, you might actually have more fold equity, that live paradox. Like it might look stronger and get the fold here with ace king right away, you mean?
Yeah, and risk less money in the process if I.
Well, I suppose you could say that. Like if you risk less money and you have the same amount of fold equity, and then you just hope you on the river brick, it just goes check, check. You hope it goes check, check. That actually might be more efficient than jamming all in here. But I still don't like raise. Personally, if I got it here into this spot, I would call and check a lot of rivers and then kind of play a little game of Fifth Street Chicken, where if the guy jammed at the end, even if he's good at 1-3, there's just a lot of guys that aren't necessarily doing that to get you off of a chop. I just think that this is a really bad turn card for you, and I would not play this one that aggressively. What ended up happening? So you jam all in here for 2,000 total.
Yeah, so the villain goes into the tank for, I want to say, 4 to 5 minutes and then flicks in a call.
Oh, well, there you go.
He turns over ace king off.
So villain calls with ace king, and you guys chop it up, right? I assume. Yeah, there's no
Yep.
way. So it's a chop. But do you follow what I'm saying there? Just go back to the math here real quick. So, it's a little bit less, but you're basically almost laying the price of like 1 to 2, meaning he's got to fold out a bunch because you're risking 2,000 to win almost 1,100, but we'll call it 1,000. And again, the issue is like, if he never had anything that was worse than you to call with, okay, you're on a stone cold free roll, but that's just not the case here. We still have one combo of pocket aces. We still have, I'm saying, half a combo of the 6 combos of ace queen. There's 2 full combos of ace queen suited here too, I believe, with the club, the spade. Yeah, there's 2 full combos of red ace queens out here too. So I mean, you're talking about like 4 to 5 combos of actually. I just would not have done this on this turn card, and then you didn't get to fold anyways, right?
Right.
So interesting hand though. And also too, I don't know if you're accustomed to playing all this deep. I wanted to bring that up too, that you have to, you can definitely overplay some hands when you get really, really deep. And there's a little bit of stack protection that goes into play here as well.
Yeah, that was definitely part of probably why I jammed, is because it was almost like a what do I do in this situation? But
You can call and check river and evaluate. There's nothing wrong with that. Michael, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it.